Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome to my weekly watch roundup. Yes, this is a series where I just run through and have a little chat about stuff that I've been watching the past week. Some of this stuff I may have done reviews for, you may have seen reviews, you may have not seen the reviews, but I'll tell you if I've reviewed it, and please feel free to go and look back and find those reviews over the past week. So, let's get into what I've been watching this week. Okay, so no particular order. First off, which I have reviewed earlier today, was episode 11 of Blade Runner Black Lotus. Yes, Blade Runner Black Lotus is a Japanese anime series set within the Blade Runner world and follows a character by the name of Elle, who is a replicant that at the very start of the series was being hunted down for game, for sport, along with some other replicants that were killed. She doesn't get killed, she escapes. She wants to find out what had gone on and why she ain't got memories prior to this and all this sort of thing, and leads her into a hunt of tracking down the people that had killed her friends, so to speak, the people she was with, and she exacts revenge and all this sort of stuff. There's a little mystery and intrigue as the show gets in, and this episode, 2 episodes from the end we are now, and this episode opened up a lot of the intrigue of the series and what's been going on. So yeah, it's been a fantastic series. I've really enjoyed it. The animation has been top notch in as far as the world is concerned, but I'm not too happy with the animation of the characters. They seem somewhat dated and lacking in how they look in the computer animation department, shall we say. But the world is fantastic. The pacing of the show is very much in line with how the 2 Blade Runner films prior have been paced, so it isn't overly fast action, but when it gives you the action, it is good. But it's just lovely to revisit that Blade Runner universe again, and I've really been enjoying the series. And like I said, with 2 episodes left, we're nearly at the end. I have reviewed every episode thus far, so you can go and check them out on the channel, on this channel. Okay, next up is Dexter. Yeah, obviously Dexter New Blood ended a couple of weeks ago. Very controversial ending, upsetting a lot of people. People weren't happy. I didn't have an issue, but it's made me start revisiting Dexter. Now, I'm not rushing through them. I'm about episode 5 or 6 through the first series. I watched a few more this week, me and the wife, and thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I know Dexter over the years sort of went down in quality, it dipped somewhat, but it's great to go back and revisit the character and see his beginnings, especially after seeing his ending. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit. And if you haven't seen Dexter, I highly suggest you watch it. It's a very, very good show. Star Trek Prodigy has been continuing, and this was a good sci-fi filled episode this week, in that the story was based around a anomaly in space that created a split in timelines aboard the ship, and each character was in their own little pocket time universe within the ship, with time running at a different pace, so they were all sort of separated from one another, but it wasn't different realities, it was the same reality. This sort of oddness, and the only correlation between each character is the Janeway hologram, who could survive in each of the little pocket timelines, so to speak, and help the crew through. Yeah, this show is Star Trek aimed at children, whereas Star Trek Lower Decks has a bit more risque element to its humour at times, but this one is solely for children, and that's most evident in the characters within the series. However, the series looks fantastic. It's got quite a compelling story. Some of the characters are good, some are childlike, but it's a solid, fun series, and each episode being at about 22 minutes, the time just passes by. It doesn't bore or anything like that. So, you know, and I have been reviewing that on a weekly basis as it's been on, so you can go and check those out as well. What's to stop you, hey? Next up, Superman and Lois. Yes, episode 2 of Superman and Lois. I didn't even know series 2 had started, so I caught episode 1 of series 2 almost a week late, and I've reviewed both of these. Now, obviously set inside the CW verse, or is it? I don't know actually, but it's far different than the likes of Arrow and the Flash and Supergirl and all those, in that it's more cinematic in its feel. It's shot completely different in its lighting, you know, more, it's got bigger budget, the special effects are fantastic. It's a truly great series. Not only that, but the series is bringing in Doomsday. Doomsday is coming. We had it in the first episode. We've had a little bit more in this episode. And that's intriguing to see what they'll do with the Doomsday storyline. And if they're going to give us a version of the Death of Superman storyline from the comics in 1993. A story that was went into in the Zack Snyder trilogy. In Batman vs Superman with Doomsday, but that wasn't really Doomsday in the sense that he was nothing like the character in the comics. Or I know he's a hulking brute and had that thing just to kill and destroy, but he looked nothing like Doomsday, and the story didn't play out as it should have done, and they didn't give enough time to it like they should have for such a grandiose story from the comics. So again, a series that I've been reviewing and I'm really enjoying. Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, I think he's fantastic. I don't know why, I just really like him as the character. Couple of films now. Not that would interest many people, and I've reviewed both of these films and they haven't got many views, and I understand why. So the first one is Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. Yes, based on the Scottish play. Denzel Washington playing the title character of Macbeth, which has probably riled some people up because of the race swapping of the character. You know, you wouldn't have had a black king, especially back in Shakespearean days. Come on now. But all I've got to say is that Denzel Washington handles this Shakespeare stuff fantastically. It's a difficult watch. It's in black and white. It's in, you know, the old sort of ratio square, and it's all spoken in Shakespearean. It's, you know, so it's quite difficult to follow what's going on if you've not read or had any experience with Shakespeare before. Luckily enough, I have studied Shakespeare back in the day when I was in college and stuff like that, when I've done English literature and English language and all these sort of things. So for me, I could watch it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not a film that I would revisit. I mean, I might revisit in a decade or something, but not something that I feel the need to, oh yeah, fantastic. It was very well made. It was very good film. I have done a review, like I said. Now, next up, which was one of the surprise films for me thus far, and could easily at this point in time make my top 10 movies of the year, is Cyrano. Yeah, the new film based on the story of Cyrano de Bergerac, you know, the character with a big nose, who is in love with a girl, but would she love him because he looks a bit freaky? Only what they've done is they've twisted the story up a bit, and they've used matey from Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage, who's a fantastic actor. I mean, you know, he proved his acting chops in Game of Thrones, I will say. As much as what I think of Game of Thrones and the fact that I wouldn't ever revisit it again, don't feel the need to revisit it again, Peter Dinklage was a joy from beginning to end of that series, and he's no different in this film. He was fantastic. The film is a musical, it is a love story. He hasn't got a big nose, it's based upon the fact that he is short in stature compared to other people, and how the society would look at him dating a female of you know, of regular size, shall we say, an attractive, beautiful woman, and she falls in love at first sight with this other guy, and Cyrano's helping this other guy from behind the scenes by writing love letters to her that are meant to be coming from him, but truly it's him speaking from his heart. Like I said, it is a musical. It does have song in it. It does have a choreography of dance at times within it, but this is a fantastic film. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and yes, I love this film. Let's just say that. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've done a review. I gush about it a lot more in that review. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. Obviously, it's not that sort of that sort of genre of film that loads of people love to watch, unfortunately for it. And that being episode 4 of Peacemaker. Yes, with John Cena, based on the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad movie, his character from that, the aftermath of that film, what's happened to his character moving on, and this is just a joy. I think this series is fantastic. Every episode thus far has been written by James Gunn. James Gunn directed some of the earlier episodes, not this episode, but he did write this episode. I don't know whether James Gunn's directing or writing the rest. I don't know. I'm assuming he's writing them. But I don't go and look into this stuff. I don't go on IMDb and check out, is he writing, is he directing? Until the episode comes out, I'll watch it then. I'm not one of these people who has to go online and read up and find out every single little bit about something. I'll just watch it when it comes along, and there we go. It's a fantastic series. If you've got the opportunity to watch this series, I highly suggest you watch it. It's top notch. It's just wonderful. I love it. And last but not least is the Book of Boba Fett. Yes, this week's Book of Boba Fett was somewhat disappointing, shall we say, in that, narratively speaking, it didn't move anything along in the story, in the context of the story. What it gave us was a lot of flashback stuff with how he rescued Fennec, how he got his ship back, and this sort of a thing. This is stuff we didn't really need to see. It doesn't progress anything. It's stuff that could have just been done off camera and we'd have been fine with it. This series has been a bit up and down. It's not Mandalorian level good. And I've got my reasons why. First of all, you've got to ask yourself, right, when you envisioned a Boba Fett TV, if you ever envisioned a Boba Fett film or Boba Fett TV series prior to this, prior to The Mandalorian, is this what you would have wanted? The answer's going to be no, right? You would have wanted Boba Fett as you know Boba Fett in the films. Now, Boba Fett had, 6 minutes of screen time in the Star Wars films, and he's a character who's embedded in mystery. That's what the intrigue was for this character. He looked cool, he acted cool, he was mysterious, right? Now, when you've got a character who's got a lot of mystery revolving around him, the minute you strip that mystery away from the character, you've destroyed what people love about that character. And that's exactly what this show has done to Boba Fett. He's not a mystery to anyone anymore. You know, I mean, you could argue that, you started to get elements of this in Attack of the Clones when you saw him as a child and this sort of thing, and you found out about his father and all that. But let's be fair, that didn't do too much to it. But now, right, I know that Boba Fett's come out of the Sarlacc and he's a different person because of what he's gone through and he wants to go a different way, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what you would have wanted. Let's be honest with yourself. It's not what I wanted. Even Tamara Morrison, who plays Boba Fett himself, has stepped up and been somewhat critical in a sense of the TV series. And he has said, my character talks too much. And he does talk too much. Tamara Morrison actually wanted some of his lines to be given to Ming-Na Wen, Fennec. But they didn't go with it. He wanted to retain the mystery of the character, and he understands that it's that mystery of the character that worked for the character. I mean, this has happened time and time again in film, in comic book, you do an origin story and you strip away mystery. This is an origin story, obviously. This is afterwards, but you've stripped away that mystery. Same concept, same sort of thing. I can dig at comics. I can say, Wolverine, Weapon X program, the fact he had no memory of his early life. There was a lot of intrigue to this character and what he'd done, or where he came from, and you not knowing that, and that makes a character very. People want to know more, so they latch on to the character. The minute Marvel done the X-Men Origins, or Wolverine Origins, comic book that they done, it was just called Origins, I believe. Back in the day, it was somewhat, we'd have been better off not knowing, and Same with Boba Fett. You know, I think I'd have much rather have seen him running around as a bounty hunter doing what he'd done before. Yeah, so and he makes a lot of stupid decisions in this episode as well, taking Slave One and hovering it right above the Sarlacc pit. You know, going lower into it, looking for his armour. You know, and I said in my review, where does he expect to see it? Stuck in one of the Sarlacc's teeth, like a bone or something. His character just makes idiotic decisions. But anyway, unless the less said about the mod gang in it on their little Vespers, the better. All right, we didn't really see them this week, but last week, Christ Almighty, did that take me out of the story completely. When has Star Wars ever given you spaceships that look like they've come from an earthly design? Never. Maybe Solo with the speeder car, which was used in that episode of Boba Fett as well, essentially, with that geezer escaping, the mods chasing them. But you've got these shiny, colourful Vespers without wheels, with all the blimmin' wing mirrors as well. Stupidness. But anyway, it's a series I want to like. It's a series I'm enjoying, even though I'm very, very critical of it. This is not the series I wanted. But there you go. Anyway, so that was it. That's just a quick roundup. I've done reviews for most of this stuff, so please you can go and check them out. And I'll be back next week with my watch roundup again. So this is AJ. Thanks for watching. Please consider hitting the subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you've been watching. Is there something good that I haven't seen? And yeah. So, and I'll see you all next week. Take care all and goodbye.